Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner, and today we're going to be talking about one of our favorite projects, Decentraland. So recently, they made an update on their Decentraland DAO, which has huge implications on the whole wider community. And if you look at the price, it dumped like everything else in the last couple of weeks. No different than other projects, and I think went down to like, what was it, 70 cents or whatever?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, 50% losses from the tippy top. It went as high as $1.50. Now it went to 70 cents. But now, as of a few minutes ago, it's now near $1. Let's check this out on CoinGecko.
Very nice. Solid rebound.
Yeah. So actually, a lot of crypto right now is rebounding. It could be a dead cat bounce. So everything is going up. It could go further down. Nobody really knows. But ultimately, I think those experienced in the crypto space are largely bullish. So there's real no worry here.
Yeah, for the long run, for sure. Yeah, I mean, if you want to hone in on the short-term noise, who knows where we're headed short-term wise. But long-term, there's nothing but bullish sentiment here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, we recognize, like, dude, so much is still left to be built and proven. Like, over time, these things will be realized, right? So naturally, that means price appreciation when these realization events happen for a lot of these projects. So right now, the main catalyst in the market seems to be Matic and Polygon network ecosystem.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the fact that Decentraland plays a core component in that ecosystem, it also contributes to a lot of the price action we're seeing in Decentraland. So,
my God, $2.25, dude.
Yeah, I mean, Matic looks like it's higher than it was before the dump.
Yeah.
Matic is on a runaway train, dude. And hey, I called it, didn't I? Didn't I say Matic has top 10 potential? Go back in our video history.
It does.
It's sitting there at number 11, dude. So
God damn, what a call, dude.
Almost prophesized that one into, almost manifested it. But
yeah, that's amazing.
It just made too much sense, dude. It's just too damn useful at the right time. When the ecosystem needed this more than ever.
Yeah.
And Matic was there to seize the opportunity. So
let's go back. God, internet computer.
Yeah, that's another video.
Yeah, we need to look into this.
Forget that exists for now, because that thing literally just popped out of nowhere. It's top 10. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So we got the usual suspects: Binance, Cardano, Ripple, still hanging in there. Dogecoin, Polkadot, USD Coin, and Internet Computer. Polygon number 11. Look at that. Mm-hmm. Bitcoin Cash is down, dude.
Yeah, well, that's totally fine.
Yeah,
it got knocked down a peg, but it'll come back.
Yeah, for sure.
It always does, dude. Bitcoin Cash is not arisen yet.
Yeah, you could even call Bitcoin Cash a signal. Once it's like in the top 3, that's pretty much the end of it.
Yeah, that's when things are getting real crazy.
Yeah.
So,
but anyway, we're here to talk about Decentraland.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what Decentraland is, it's a open metaverse where anyone can own land and subsequently own the content on top of it through a project that we started on MetaZone. And another project that we're working with is Ethermon. And of course, there's a lot of stuff in development right now in Decentraland. This is one of those things that is never finished. It's only progressing. But they made an announcement recently on their DAO. So Decentraland has a DAO. This is one of those projects from 2017 that are committed to completely decentralizing. And so part of that decentralization is a community DAO. And so they have a new DAO. All the links will be in the description, but essentially they've come up with a way to a cheaper way for the community to participate, because largely every DAO that existed before the last year has run on Ethereum for the most part. And as you know, Ethereum has gas fees. Anytime you interact with the Ethereum network, you got to pay gas, and that included voting for things. So they've largely transitioned to a proxy. Yeah, it's a multi-sig proxy, which makes it easier to use and cheaper to use. So the community grants here, there's a couple of tiers. So they start in a one-time payment of $500 to $1,500 USD dollars in mana, and up to $5,000 in mana with a 1 month cliff. So here's like the mechanism that people can contribute in order to get these grants, and ideally is like just making content, whatever it is, and people have to vote for that content to be to get this I don't know, grant. And
Well, yeah,
and
because
this,
the idea is it's a decentralized world, right? So who's in control of creating the content, right? In a
people.
traditional game world, there is a company in charge producing all the content, right?
Yeah.
So this is a new model. So there needs to be a new governance system in place in order to decide, like, what gets built. How much does the community contribute to build that thing? Where is it going to go? Things like this. Traditionally these are all like internal decisions, right? With any entity or corporation. So now we're distributing this like responsibility among the whole network of the community, essentially. So we need these tools, which they're releasing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like you're right, man. This has been like pent up for a while now. People have been wondering, how do we bring this DAO to life? Because the DAO is going to be everything. If Decentraland is to truly be like this decentralized world, I mean, it starts here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. This is where it starts. And so, I mean, we have our own kind of like sentiment about this. I think if, God, man, where did we read that? Here it is. So the DAO Fund, it says, at the time of this writing, which is May 21st, this was 5 days ago, the 222 million mana that exists, roughly 14.1 million mana, has been released from the vesting contract. In addition to that 14.1 million mana, an additional 13.5 million may be released as of the time of this writing. This makes for a total of 26 million mana currently available to the DAO. So overall, they have a 222 million mana vested over 10 years, and 14.1 million is already available, potentially as much as 27.6 million. So if you go look at the mana price right now, it's about $1. So we're looking at $27 million, largely just sitting there, not doing much.
Yeah, because nobody really knows what to do with it, right? That's a big ask to ask any individual. Well, how do you spend $30 million, dude? Like,
I got a few ways. I got a few ways.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's exactly. There's a lot of ways you can spend it, but
constructively, how to spend it constructively? That's the real question.
Yeah, and like, well, the thing is, like, community needs way more interaction and like discussion, I think, before these decisions are made. Because for one, there needs to be like a consensus, at least a rough consensus, like what it is the DAO needs to achieve, right?
Yeah.
In the same sense, if you're running a business, there needs to be a consensus among like the board of directors. So what do we want to achieve as a business or an entity or whatever, a game? So, before we can start divvying out cash, like there needs to be a lot more, conversation.
100%. So, yeah, this is largely a question for the community. Everybody watching this video is like, what should a DAO be doing? Other than like facilitating the creation of whatever platform you're building for that DAO. So in the case of Decentraland, it's like, what should the community be doing for the DAO? So the DAO is handing you cash in order to build that thing that you just got granted for. And once you build that thing, is it supposed to contribute back into the DAO, or is it just largely like, here's $5,000, create your thing, and then we're done here?
Yeah, if it works, cool. If it doesn't, also cool, because we still have hundreds of millions of dollars in the pipeline coming. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of the mentality right now within the Decentraland community of like, there's so much capital to be spent here. It's almost like we don't even need to consider like the fail safes yet.
Yeah.
Which I don't necessarily like that sentiment, but I understand it. Like,
yeah, we actually had a conversation with Maddie, a DCL blogger, and we were talking about this very thing. And this was before this announcement, by the way. But we were talking about how there's so much money in the DAO and Decentraland that we don't necessarily need to be worried about sustaining the DAO funds, not yet at least. And he was able to convince me to, because we're always thinking about sustainability. And we can't just create a bunch of tasks here of like, give me money so I can do this, and then essentially drain the funds, and then there's like no return on investment from the DAO. So that's how we think. I mean, we think like that just because, we're also running a business, but we also don't want these funds to just completely evaporate, right? 222 million, and there's like nothing to show for it just because, people were able to fool the community to just give up $222 million. Yeah. So the way that we think about it is it makes a lot of sense for certain projects to contribute back into the fund. And so for example, in MetaZone's case, if a lot of the content is, Decentraland focused, then any interaction, any purchases for that content should contribute some money back into the DAO. So just if you see here, the DAO also has several sources of income. So the 2% transaction fees within the Decentraland marketplace all go to the DAO. And then
ultimately, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and then the last one here is the OpenSea marketplace also receives 2.5 transaction fee for sales of land, estates, names, and wearables, part of which is also transferred to the DAO.
So this is it to me. Like, this is the most important page.
Yes.
These 2 bullets are the most important bullets. Like, this is the consensus. Like, the foundation is already laying for us. Like, this is what we've done so far. We have a couple bullets here as far as sources of income. Any business or entity, you're prioritizing that, because by increasing these bullets, these sources of income, you're increasing your potential as an organization to do bigger things.
Yeah.
Like, to exist as a healthier ecosystem. Because you're right. If 10 years from now, those 2 red bullet points are the only things still there.
Yeah.
that mana's gone. It just evaporates and it's a failed project.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we didn't spend the last 10 years building out this impressive display of sources of income, right? There is no economy was generated within that 10-year time span, basically.
Yeah.
It was basically just a big airdrop fest. Yeah. However we decided to blow all that money, we just did it.
Yeah, that's the potential, I guess, path that we could lead on. So if you go look at the DAO and the proposals, you have like these sections here. There's a poll, there's a name ban, which is a good idea. You don't want like stupid names like running around Decentraland. Catalyst nodes, points of interest. So basically a point of interest is a little star in the Decentraland map. It's cool. This is like the lowest of priorities for the most part. But
it's just highly requested. That's why it has its own category.
Yeah.
People want because there is a large community of builders in Decentraland building stuff right now, and they want their stuff to be
like noticed.
Noticed. Yeah, exactly. So
I forgot where I was going with this. So there could be a poll that says, why don't we just give an airdrop to all mana holders or landholder, whatever it is, and it could get voted in. So I think there are little checks and balances to prevent that from happening, because overall that's just a waste of money. And ultimately Decentraland exists to fund builders and create content and bring people to the world and build that metaverse. So this is just a good example of something successful. Says, should name owners be granted proportional DAO rights? So yeah, so that's just an example that got passed through. So we have a functional DAO now, and most importantly, these are the 2 most important items in any DAO: is the income versus the outcome.
Output.
Output. Basically.
Yeah. Input, outputs. And I think it's largely missed, like a missed point, because the whole DAO experiment hasn't really.
Yeah. You know what? Yet. I was gonna say there are pretty successful DAOs out there right now, but in large part they're successful, but the stuff that's being created in the DAO are essentially abstract. They're like smart contracts, which are obviously very valuable, but they're not very tangible things. They're not a highly interactable things, and that's why we like Decentraland a lot, because you could jump into the world and see what people are creating and contribute. There's like a huge economy. Like, to build stuff on a piece of land, you need a 3D modeler, you need a developer, you need game designers. Like, you need all kinds of stuff in order to make Decentraland work, and a large part, it's all tangible. So that's what's cool about Decentraland, and I think Decentraland has a very high probability of a DAO functioning and actually sustaining this number and keeping it roughly sustainable. We don't necessarily need $222 million just sitting there, but as long as the income and we have a balance, then I think this is going to be a very successful DAO.
Yeah, ultimately, if the sustainability is established and it works, and not just, it's the reason why it becomes sustainable is because it's producing value, in the sense that whatever developer is tapping into these funds, they're in return creating value for the economy and the ecosystem. That's how they're able to contribute back to where the source of that original funding came from, which is the DAO, right?
Yeah.
It's this looping mechanism that needs to be established.
Yeah.
And by adding more bullet points, by seeing the DAO's funds increase as opposed to decrease, it's a direct metric that the whole world is going to analyze and identify. Like Decentraland is working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
It's a decentralized world governed by its users, and it's self-sustainable because there's tons of development happening in there.
That's right.
We got games up the ass. We got play to earn economies everywhere. We got casinos left and right. We got clubs because people are earning so much in Decentraland. Nightclub owners are making a killing.
That's right.
Like people are selling virtual cars in Decentraland. People are going to be willing to spend 30, 40, 50 grand on a car because they're making so much money earning in Decentraland. Like this is the economy you want to build.
That's right.
It should mimic the real world as much as possible, Yeah.
And
the only way to get there is establishing that loop.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And just let's talk about this specifically. I think this is a starting point for Decentraland's DAO, and we want to. I guess Decentraland is taking like baby steps here because let's put into perspective what this amount of money really means. This isn't really enough to create something sustainable in Decentraland. This is about enough to make a 3D model and like output into the world. Eventually,
we have experience about this. Roughly, this amount of money is enough to build maybe like a catalog of 3D weapons. Like we made gear crates in the past for one of our old games that, it's a weapon and there's 6 versions of weapons. It roughly costs within this range to produce those 6 weapons.
That's right. Yeah, because within a 3D model weapon, there's animations. And you got to spend time animating those weapons. And roughly a weapon is relatively simple to animate. But for the most part, I mean, to create content in Decentraland, it is not cheap. And this is about enough to make some 3D models, and that's about it. So I think this is a starting point for the Decentraland DAO. And to really make sustainable, like good tools for a community, man, it's going to take a ton more. Like grants need to be like $250K, something like that, $1 million to like actually have like usable tools that are going to stick around for 15, 20 years, because Decentraland potentially could outlive us, just like Bitcoin will outlive us, things like that. We need to think long-term with some of this stuff.
Yeah. And I guess like another motive for this initial structuring is because what is the process to approving a project to, have $1 million in funding from the DAO? Like, how can you trust any project who's like, okay, here's my team, it's like a little white paper with 5 or 6 dudes. Let's talk about our history of developing games for Microsoft for the last 20 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Here we are in Decentraland. We own. We're going to make the sickest game. Yeah. Let's generate some concept art. And then here we are, DAO. We want $2 million, and we'll build this game for you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are the chances they actually follow through and not just chunk deuce?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
like,
true.
How do you govern that little aspect? Like, who's in charge of making sure that doesn't happen?
Yeah. That's true, dude. I mean, these are things that, obviously we think about that a lot, and I know Decentraland team is thinking about that too, and that's why they largely started with these amounts, right? This is like to get the ball rolling, and then we'll figure out and manage like to fund bigger teams, and like, because there's big teams in Decentraland now, right? There's a lot of big teams in Decentraland, and $3,000 to $5,000 is not enough to cover not even a month's work of work. Barely.
Yeah, for one person in that team.
One person in that team, yeah. So, this is more of like explaining the new DAO update. Hope you guys enjoyed the explanation. And if you have any questions on what's going on with Decentraland, let us know in the comment section and on YouTube, or join our Discord. Let us know what you think. This is the DAO is a big deal. I know a lot of projects are using the DAO, and I think Decentraland is on the right path. So, follow us on Twitter at The Block Runner, and also at MetaZone.io, and also follow us at Ethermon _NFT, and we will catch you in the next video.
Peace.